Peace, peace, peace. Mic check, mic check. Is this thing on? It is unapologetically QI entering the building again for another unapologetic live. Now let me go and give y'all a warning, and for my people who are not within the beefing sector, this is going to be a beefing sector messy live. All right. All right. So I was busy, doing things that, like I do, that I need to do, life, daily tasks and functions. All right. So a lot of times when I'm doing that, I either have, like my earbuds on or, I have my big screen TV on and I'm just listening. And I have it turned up so I can hear it throughout the house or whatever, or either in the particular rooms that I'm working in. So at any rate, I'm over there listening to Pizza on the spaceship. And I already knew because the other day, Bree, I dropped down off the panel, Bree brought me up. And then Bree popped up again, she brought me up. All right, this is a long time history. And let me tell you something, I've really never done anything, like that to Brianna. One time I clapped back and they made me feel so bad in that clap back. Plus, that's just not me. That, I chose not to go that route, right? Now, I will read. I can read, but I'm not going to read on those type of things. I don't, I call them fifth grade reads, right? I'm not gonna do the elementary school, the junior high school, the childish reads. I'm gonna do a character read. All right. So anyway, any rate, even though Bree started it, in my opinion, Bree is a self read, a self drag, yada yada yada. I mean, she drags herself. And then, like I said, this is the second day in a row. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. So you trying to get on my top. You want my attention. I'm not going to give it to you. Pay me. All right. And then people, they like that elitist status feel, right? They've created this in a lot of these sectors or areas when they say, oh, gee, all of that, all that, all that. I really don't go off of that because I, have had that in real life. And, like, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I've experienced the heavy is the head that wears the crown. A lot of times it's like I just end up being the CEO, the leader, the whatever. And a lot of times I try to pass those functions off to other people because, that's, you have to definitely have a commitment. You carrying most of the weight. And I don't like doing that. I like to sit back like everybody else and do my little part and keep it moving. But some people, they want that elitist status, right? But they want it with no work. And sometimes that elitist status comes from manipulation, psychological manipulation. So I'm just not going to even go there. And then plus, I just congratulated her on her graduation and her graduation pictures and all that. I shared a post. So, I haven't done anything and I like to leave it that way. I'm just going to leave it that way. I'm going to let her, keep hating. But anyway, let's talk about this next hater. Giddy up, Dori. Okay, so Dori chimes in. Dori's like, I left QI back there in the TSCC days because whoever has a storyline like that, they deserve to be left back. Let's talk about that. Let's unpack that, Dori. Dori, during the glory days of the B sector, I'm talking about when the T.S. Madison's, fucking Dineva, Michelle ATLian, Tasha Cades, and when all of these big time people had us on their radar. The Conscious TV, when a lot of these people had us on a Larry Reed, when they had us on the radar, a lot of y'all were in the bleachers. In the bleachers, a part of the audience. You were a part of the audience. Okay. So then after the IHOP situation, a lot of these people, they reemerged. They reemerged because a lot of these women are hags or mammies, right? And their whole thing was taking out the next queen or taking out the next woman. So they felt like they had got one uh uh top female content creator out the way, and they started immediately working on the next, which was Fi Babe. There was a whole big Fi Babe hate campaign going on, so much that I had to remind Fi Babe sometimes I'm not on that campaign. I'm not participating in that campaign. I don't, like I don't like the hate campaigns and the pilots. I think that's weak. That's cultish. That's group thinking. And I'm like, I'm not a hater because there's something here for everybody. God made us, all of us, for a purpose and a reason. We all have a purpose, and if you focus on your mission, your purpose for being here, your time, because everybody's going to have their time. Everybody's going to have a piece of the pie, and your definition of the piece of the pie depends on you and what makes you happy, because this is your life. But we are not here just to eat, sleep, and transition. We're here for a reason. And a lot of people don't focus on that because it's not money, some paper that was made by man. It's not, a lot of people, they classify themselves off a house, it's not that. Because, when we transition, we don't take those things with us. Now, what we can do is do better to do the things, generational wealth and different things for the next generation. That's how I was taught. But like back to the subject at hand, Miss He Dori. And let me hurry up because, I gotta put my phone on charge. But Dori also, not only was she in the bleachers during the glory days, while she's talking about she'd been here for a long time, she pretended to be a lawyer. So she came out here trying to get attention by pretending to be a lawyer. Fake storyline. Let's start right there. Let's talk about the fake storyline with, then the next situation was with her and Kiki, and the fact that she took Kiki's baby daddy. So Doris, sounds like you deserve to be left behind, way behind. Okay, then your next storyline is one of the most misogynistic people who doesn't even live in the United States. That's from the UK, Simon. Misogynistic, crazy, whatever. You got this fake relationship, and if it's real, that's even sadder. But this fake relationship and this fake baby situation going on. So fake, 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 which means that you're an attention seeker, which means that you like that either comes from your childhood. You got some childhood traumas where you didn't get enough attention, or you didn't get enough attention, or you got some severe mental illness. Now I'm going to say severe mental illness, definitely. That you're definitely a 5150. Then you were a paymaster. You, like, your other storyline was paying to stay, paying your way for acceptance, paying your way for attention. And now that the money has run out, and now that nobody no longer pays you any attention, you're still out here desperate. I was the first one that said that I did this, and making up all these fake storylines. So you can't ever talk about me or anybody else. Nobody believes you because you're fake, fake, fake. You're fake. You're wannabe. Bougieville. Let me first of all tell you about bougie, right? Most of the people who say they bougie, and I'm finna get to it. I'm finna get to the next person. But I grew up with people in my family that acted bougie. But at the end of the day, I mean, they had some things or whatever, but At the same time, we already knew it wasn't them. Like we used to, like me and a lot of my cousins, we used to talk about a lot of our great aunts and stuff that was pretending to be bougie and all that. And we still do sometimes to this day. And a lot of them, they died poor, poor, poor. You know why? Because they was too busy trying to do things to impress other people. And that's to me the definition of a bougie person. Somebody who wants to impress other people, someone who wants to pretend like they're better than the next because they have a low self-esteem and they have low self-worth about themselves. So they're materialistic and all of this good stuff. So once again, we're talking about mental illness, right? So that's you, Dori. And let me transition. So basically, Bree was bringing up, I've been watching Sincere, so I've been bored. No, you was watching Sincere, Saida, because you liked her content. Because there's no way I could watch something. There's so many things on YouTube that you can watch. I could watch somebody cutting grass if I get that bored. There are so many things that you could watch. You were interested. So that's where my name came up in the first place. And I was sitting there telling myself, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. All right. So, I had stopped dropping down over there at Sincere's for a minute to stay out of the drama because every time I go over there, it's like, you know, people are bringing up, situations that, like, I'm at peace with. We at peace with that, right? All right. So, anyways, we had started the time that I dropped down. It was about like something that happened over there at Nyla Says. Okay, so we went from that and we started having a conversation about all types of intellectual and spiritual topics. I was really enjoying myself. I was like, okay, it's okay. And I thought about even dropping down, continue to drop down even more. Because I just don't like to get caught up in the drama. If I'm gonna fight, I choose my battles wisely. So if I'm gonna battle or fight, I'm gonna do it. Ain't nobody else gonna triangulate, manipulate, troll me into some drama. So at any rate, the trolling began. So Talon jumps on the panel with his switchy, messy arse. I could just see him switching. All right, here's another one. First of all, Talon, you are not right. You're not real. And you're fake, fake, fake too. You're another wannabe elitist. You're another wannabe bougie. And how we know that you're not? Because first of all, if you was rich, you was bougie, if you was anything that you say you were, you wouldn't be in the B sector or any of these sectors for the most part. You would be doing bigger and better things, spending money. There are so many other things you could do if you got money. And then not only that, so you're trying to go dig into my personal life, right? He told me, asked me what good was being an indigenous American. And I'm sitting there like, good. That is those are my grandparents, my ancestors. That's my bloodline. That's my family. What the heck? But let me also say he had already admitted that he was a narcissist. He said, I'm a narcissist on that same live. And he's admitted it plenty of times. And then he's one of them narcissists that points the finger at other narcissists. Just like this heat. Like, I don't even really want to bring up her name because she's not bothering me right now. But, and I notice a pattern with those type of people. Like, I'm sitting in the chat and I'm sitting there like, ugh. But I'm not typing anything. I'm just sitting there letting, because Talent and Sincere are Muslim brother and sister. Okay, so let them have their moment. And then he brings me up. So I let the first shot go by. Then, and that first shot included my name. Then the second and the third shot, it was like conscious community, all of this. So by this time, I'm just like, okay, you done fired too many shots at me. Don't run. Here I come. So I got on the panel. And that's when he made what good is being indigenous American Indian. Because I was like, I'm not FBA. I'm not even Pan-African. I'm an indigenous American Indian. What good? And so he goes, and I was like, land off of more land, So then he was like, oh, you're lying, you're fake, you're a fraud, blah, blah, blah. No, you're fake, you're a fraud, you're insecure, you're hiding because you know you're lying. Then you live in an apartment. I don't care if it is a condominium, I consider that an apartment. All right. Then the mere fact that you told me, you know how I know you're ignorant? Because you're going to tell me, I'm telling you, I have resources. I can make money off of land resources. And then you're telling me to go get some doggone credit and I can keep my land resources. That's dumb. And that's how so many indigenous Indians, indigenous Americans lost their land. Because, during the civil rights era and different things like that, after the wars and stuff, they had to rebuild. So they started building them co-ops and different things like that, where you could go get tillers and different farm equipment, different equipment. Cause, back then they were self-sustaining. It wasn't like now where you go to a job, you had insurance and all of that. They were self-sustaining. So, like they had to rebuild. And, I guess some people, they were like, take me too long to have to, because some people make their own tools. Like my grandfather made his own tools. And I guess some people were like, it's going to take too long to do that. Let me just go get this tiller. Let me go, buy this tiller or whatever on credit or whatever. So that's like they got into credit. And that's how a lot of them ended up losing their land. My great grandfather did not believe in credit. He did not absolutely believe in credit. Now, I'm not going to say I will not utilize credit, but if I utilize credit, I'm going to already have the money. So basically, I'm just not going to use my own money. I'm going to use the credit money. So I already got the money to pay back. So it's just buying me more time and I can stack on top of the money that I have. But I'm not going to be quick to do that either, because that's why so many people are in debt. Because of the simple fact that they overdo the credit. And a lot of people around here saying that they have money because of their credit limits. But they don't know the detriment on the other side of that. And then those people are 9 times out of 10, especially if they have kids, may mess up the generational wealth because of their debts. Well, in my family, we were raised from little kids that credit wasn't the best thing in the world, And I'm glad, because now I've seen a lot of people who, utilize credit. Now, it can be a benefit, but you have to know how to utilize credit. Some people go out there and get all their credit, be all their debt. And the only other thing is if they allow you to do, what is that Tasha K did, a chapter 11 or whatever, where, they'll wipe off your debt. But then still, like, the only people who should do that is people who've already gotten all those big purchases out the way. Because other than that, it's not doing you any good. But let me get back to the subject. So that's how I know he's ignorant. He's going to tell me to go get some credit when I'm telling him I don't. And I was like, I don't have to. So I know he's ignorant, but he's up there trying to tell me something to do. And that's how I know he's fake, 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 fake. Plus, he doesn't even have a channel. Yeah, he's going on trips. And I think he lives in that Vegas area, Seattle area, whatever, where it doesn't, take much to, go here or there, 30 minutes, hour, whatever, right? Because those are the trips that he has taken. But the mere fact that he takes trips and then when he goes on trips, he's not trying to be a part of the trip or a part of the content. He wants to sneak and meet people. He wants to take people's cameras. And then the one camera slip that we got, he's not even full black. So I don't know if he's a racist or whatever, but at any rate, he's around here calling a lot of other black people bums and stuff. That's not good. Black people came up from the struggle. Long as we're working towards things and working to better ourselves, then so be it. And then even, like having more than the next, you shouldn't consider yourself better than the next. You should remember the time when you probably didn't, or you should know that, you like things can change and you could be in that position. And I had to tell him money had no value. So he's like, and he wasn't grabbing what I was saying. So that's how I know that, he's all talk and fake. And, and the mere fact that, he's so he's attention seeking. And I don't believe he's who he is. Then I had to tell, like, he knows nothing about putting his hands in the dirt. He's not manly. And that's one of his problems. I had to start realizing that a lot of these men, especially, are intimidated or insecure because I am. I ride horses. I know how to go out there and kill a squirrel. Even though I don't prefer to do those things, chicken, all that kind of stuff. I was raised on a farm. This is a farm. This is a farm. I'm country and proud of it. If, like, he was talking about the AI and a lot of people are losing their jobs or whatever, he's gonna have to worry about that. Not me. I know how to survive. I know how to go out there and find me deers walk around here so freely, turkeys, squirrels, all kinds of natural vegetables without even plant. And then we plant. But people like him, oh, you country bunking. But one day you're gonna wish that you're gonna wish. I got pride in being a cowboy. I got pride in being able to self-sustain, learning how to survive. So that's how I know you're not who you are. And you need to sit down somewhere and stop trying to make yourself an elitist. Make yourself seem like you're better than the next, because that shows me that you're insecure and you need some help. But I just had to come out here. Most of these people, that's what a lot of this is about. And that's why I really don't like to do, like, I don't, now I will ruffle some feathers. If you approach me, I'm going to defend myself. I try not to go too deep because I'm not a crab in a barrel. I want to see Black people uplifted. I want to see all people uplifted. I want to see everybody, because, everybody have the ability to live a decent life. That's, my motto, my mission, that's why I'm here. But a lot of people, they have insecurities and a lot of different things. And, they're just crabs in a barrel. They're trying to hurt the next person. And that's what a lot of these sectors are built off of. Degrading the next person. I don't like it. I don't like the energy. I like positive energy. So, and don't get me wrong. I might, like, sometimes when a person approaches you and you're defending yourself, you might go there. But I really try not to. I try to stay in positive areas. But at any rate, I just want to come on and just address those people. It's like some of the loudest people are the ones that are the most messed up, the most mentally ill, the most, and they're the ones that are busy talking about other people, they're projecting, because it's really, like, it really has to do with themselves. My grandma even told me that a long time ago. That a lot of times it has more to do with them than you. Because I was just wondering, like, I'm just sitting there in Sincere's chat and I'm not bothering anyone. I wasn't even, like, I had it I was listening to it in my ear, but I wasn't over there in Pizza Chat, and here it goes. And then that's what happens a lot of times. My name comes up. And I'm not studying about that ugly stuff, because just like if you think, oh, yeah, I got a nice body. And my body is even nicer than it was before. Like, I have a naturally athletic build, even when I'm chubby. Because, the body that y'all know was, I was just starting on healthy. So I was halfway in between chubby and my natural BMI, body mass index. Now, I'm not all the way there, but I'm closer. So I'm more toned. My face is more contoured and stuff like this. So I like myself. I like myself. And that's all that matters. I love myself. When I meet people, like when I go out, like, okay, I face more discrimination and more stuff like that online, because when I go out in the real world, people love me. Because for one thing, I don't go out there and I'm not presenting myself as a lesbian. You can clearly see it. I'm visible, right? But I don't go out there pre-presenting myself as, oh, okay, I'm a lesbian. Okay, I'm this. No, I just go out there and I just be myself and present myself as myself. I'm presenting because there's so many layers to a self and to myself. It's not just being that's personal. That's intimate. That's my choice, lifestyle choice. But there's so many other things. I'm an artist. There's so many other things. So when I go out, or when I'm out and about and stuff like that, I meet a lot of people. A lot of people people naturally gravitate to me. People naturally love me. Like just like on this internet, like I don't. It's totally opposite. Totally opposite. I don't think about when I'm meeting a person. I don't think about I don't think about they're looking at me because I'm a lesbian. I walk up just because I'm me. I'm me. I walk up like me. And a lot of people, they don't know self. They don't like self. They're insecure. They got a lot of issues. And I'm just saying that's what we see. And that's how I know the difference. And I guess sometimes, like, people can see things in other people. Like, I don't come out here, like, he was trying to act like I acted like I was rich or something. I was like, I never said that. Never said I was rich. I don't come out here, and I try my best not to come out here and get too personal. Because this content creating has nothing to do. It doesn't have anything to do with your looks. It doesn't have any. It has to do with your content. Doesn't have anything to do with how rich or poor you are, depending on the content. Now I can't be up talking about, let me show you how to get rich if I'm not rich. But let me show you what I've learned, or let me show you what I've found out. If I'm sharing knowledge and information, that's something totally different. And then we're learning together. But like at any rate, it's just like this. And you can just tell that these people, because you never hear them talking about anything that's uplifting, anything that's going to help, anything that they're supposed to do, especially if you like gone to school and got an education or whatever. Because, like the whole notion of everything is not just to come out here, be greedy and make money. The whole thing is to make the better society a better place. So I'm just saying that's how I was raised. And so, the attitudes and opinion on this app are totally different. And these people be tripping out here. But, after I heard that, I had to just say, wait a minute now. Then I've been here for a long, Dori. I've been here for a long, she's steady trying to make herself an OG when she was not. She was in the bleachers. A lot of these people that are out here active today, getting the best numbers and all of that, were in the bleachers. In the bleachers. And I could clearly see that's their biggest problem. They were in the bleachers during their glory days of the B sector. And now that the B sector has declined, they're here. That's because of them. Because they want to knock all the OGs, knock all of the other people out the way. And so that they seem like big dogs, but they couldn't handle the task and the responsibility. They couldn't keep it upheld. But that's all I'm going to say, because I do have something else that I'm going to do a little later that's going to ruffle some feathers. I can already tell they're already reacting to it. And I might do it tomorrow because I just want to make sure I do that one right. But at any rate, thank everybody who came out to listen. I'm not going to necessarily go in the chat, but make sure y'all smash that like, share, subscribe if you're new to the channel. This is not the type of content I do all the time. So if you're new to the channel, occasionally I have to react or respond to somebody. But at any rate, peace, love, hair grease, and all that good stuff. It is I unapologetically exiting the building. Peace, love. I'm out.